Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Let's open up our Sidurim, turning to page 192 to begin with a song of blessing, Matovu. How wonderful are your tents, your dwelling places, O Israel. Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Vani berov chastecha, ahavo veitecha, eshtachav elecha lekodshecha, beiratecha. Everyone now. Matovu, 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 Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu, Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to those of you out there. I don't know which camera I'm looking at, but Shabbat Shalom. And Shabbat Shalom to all of you here who are present physically with us. And Shabbat, Kaya, I know you're back there somewhere. I can't see you. You probably can't. There you are. Shabbat Shalom. We have ample distance between us today. We are here today to do a few things. We are here, first of all, because it's Shabbat. And this is what Jews do on Shabbat. As we come together, we create sacred space with the prayers of our tradition and the lessons from our Torah. And we take this opportunity for quiet and breath. Kaya, another one of those deep breaths. That's what we do on Shabbat. And we are also here this morning to celebrate a really important moment in the life of the Jewish people, which is to welcome Kaya Gibbs as an adult in the Jewish community as she becomes bat mitzvah this morning. And we are so proud and so delighted to share and to learn and to be here with Kaya as she becomes bat mitzvah. You all, those of you who are here in person, have a prayer book that looks something like this. If you have not used a book like this before, it goes in the Hebrew direction, which means that what seems like the front is actually the back, and what seems like the back is actually the front. And as you open to each page, you'll notice that on most pages you have on the right side of the page Hebrew, next to that transliteration, so that it is easy to follow along. Even if you've never spoken a word of Hebrew in your life, you too can follow along. Then below that we have translation, and on the left side of the page we have creative readings and interpretations. So we will call page numbers as we go, so you will not get lost. However, if you find yourself on a different page than the page that we have called out, you are not lost. You are perhaps exactly where you're meant to be. Just hang tight, take a look at what you see. Maybe you'll find some meaning there, and soon enough you'll catch up when we call the next page number. Reminder I'm not calling you out in particular right now, but we do want to keep our masks all the way from, I know you were just scratching your nose, it's fine. All the way from the top of our nose to our chin. That's what enables us to be here together in this space. Those of you at home, you can do whatever you want with your faces. I can't see you. So feel free to be as you are. They're all in their pajamas. Are you jealous? I know. I can't get over it. They're all on the couch in their pajamas, but we have, that sacred obligation to be here dressed and in heels today. Well, maybe some of us. Maybe the rest of us are not. If Kaya, for just reminder for you, when you're behind the glass, you can take your mask off, and when you are outside of it, we'll all put our masks back on, like Cantor has shown us. All right, I think we're ready to begin. Kaya, why don't you come on up to the podium, and we are going to turn to page 198 in our Siddur. If you are following, if you have a different version of the Siddur, the other version uses page 80. So I don't know which one, who has what, but it's either page 80 or page 198 as we turn to these everyday blessings, these small things for which we learn to be grateful.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sakvivina lechavhin ben yom uben laila, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim, who frees the captive.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim, who lifts up the fallen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah ha'aretz al hamayim, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver, who strengthens our steps.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim, who clothes the naked.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'ayef koach, who gives strength to the weary.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shana me'enai utnuma me'afapai, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim, who has made me in the image of God.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani bat horin, who has made me free.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael, who has made me a Jew.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ozer Yisrael bigvura, who girds Israel with strength.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Oter Yisrael b'tifara, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Amen.
Let's continue on page 218 or page 100 for Hallelujah, Psalm 150.
Hallelujah, El Mekocho, Hallelujah, Birkia Uzo, Hallelujah, Bigvurota. Hallelujah, Kerov Gulo, Hallelujah, Peteka Shofar, Hallelujah, Penevel Mechinor.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Hallelujah, Betofu Machol, Hallelujah, Beminim Veugaf, Hallelujah, Betsitlei Shama. Hallelujah, Betsitlei Tuakol, Aneshamate, Hallelujah, Hallelujah,
Like 10 minutes in. So I think we already know that this is going to be a beautiful and meaningful morning as you share with us more of not only your beautiful voice, but the beautiful things that you have to share with your strong voice. Let's continue on page 224 or 106 for the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועל מה דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגאולה ובזמן קריב וימרו. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ועלמה וימרו. Amen.
Let's stand and turn to page 226 or 108 for the Baruch Hu.
Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai, Amevorach, Amevorach, Baruch Adonai, Amevorach, Leolam, Leolam va'ed. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Now and forever. Let's join together. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, yai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, yai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, yai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai.
Let's turn to the next page.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol.
Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita. Mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha, tibarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al ma'orei or she'asita yifa'arucha selah.
אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
Kaya, if you'll come back to the podium and lead us in the English in the middle of page 230 or 112.
How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebearers, whose trust led to you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah, focus our minds on your mitzvot, unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us upright to your land.
For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel in love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael, be'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Let's be seated.
Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levacha uvchol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am Beshivtecha bevetecha, uvleftecha vaderech, uvshofbecha, uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot beineinecha, uvtaftam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Leman tiskeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yetem kedoshim leloechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher chotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim le'yot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Let's turn to page 239 or 121, and Kyle will lead us in the responsive reading in the middle of the page.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor, asks God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. Let's turn to the next page for Mi Chamocha, our prayer of freedom.
We're going to begin with Lai La 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 Lai. Yai Lai Lai La Lai La 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 Lai Lai Lai. Lai 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 La 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 Lai. Ya Lai 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 Ya La La Lai 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 Lai. Yai Lai 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 Ya La 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 Lai. Mi Chamocha, who is like you, O God? Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai. Mi Chamocha Netar B'Kodesh. Lo Ratehi Lo Tosefele. Lo Ratehi Lo Tosefele. We sing a new song, Shira Chadasha. Shira Chadasha, Shimechu Geolim. Leshimcha L'Sefat Hayam. Yachad Kulam Hodu Ve'imlichu. Hodu Ve'imlichu Ve'amru. Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Le'olam Sur Israel, kuma be'ezrat Israel, ulfedechenu mecha Yehuda be'Israel. Go aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Israel, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Israel.
We turn to page 242 or 124 and stand together for the Amidah.
Good. Come stand where I am. Stand where I am. Good.
Adonai sefatev tiftach uvia gita hilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chazdei Avot V'Imaot Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozir Umoshia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav LeHoshia Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGashem Mechalkel Hayim Bechesed Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofeh Holim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha B'Gevorot Umido Melach Melech Mermit Umechayeh Umatzmiya Yeshua V'eman Antan Lechayot HaKol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol.
We remain standing as we turn to page 248 for the Kedushah. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam Keshem shemakdishim oto b'shmei makom Kakatuv al yad neviecha V'kacha zel ze ve'yamar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot Melech ol haaretz Kevodo Adir, Adireinu, Adonai, Adoneinu, Ba'adir Shimcha bechol haaretz. Baruch kevod Adonai, mimkomo echadu Eloheinu. Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, Vehu Yashmienu. Berachamav leilei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Imloch Adonai leolam. Elohai Tzion ledor vador. Alleluia, Alleluia, Alleluia. vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, nagidol lecha, ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha naqdish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed, ki el melech gadol, ki el melech gadol, v'kadosh ata, ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, nagidol lecha, ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha naqdish, baruch atah Adonai. Ha'el, ha'el, ha'kadosh. Amen.
Let's be seated. We'll turn to page 253 or 135 and read at the top of the page. We offer thanks, O God, for the Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Let's take this time now for our own personal prayers and private reflection, and we'll join back together in a few moments with a prayer for peace.
The top of page 258, we join together in a prayer for peace. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam, chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Israel, Amecha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עמך. Please join me. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה בעולם. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה בעולם. כי באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, תורת חיים מאהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום ושלום. Everyone, שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה בעולם. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה בעולם. חן וחסד ורחמים, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עמך. Last time. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה בעולם. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה בעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
So in just a moment, we are going to turn to our Torah service, and Kaya will have the, hi. See, I'm assuming that when Rabbi Kahn is here, it's not because he's like a foot taller than me, so he can actually see you over the podium. But I just want to remind you I'm still here. You are too. So in a few moments, Kaya will have the opportunity to read from Torah and to chant, and we can't wait to hear how Torah sounds coming from your mouth and from your voice. I know it's going to be beautiful and meaningful for all of us. And at that time, usually before we prepare to read Torah, when a bat mitzvah prepares to read Torah, we have this ritual called Shalshelet HaDorot, which is the passing of the Torah down from generation to generation. And, back in 2019, when we used to do that, we would line up literally, physically, the generations of the family, and grandparents would take the Torah and pass it to parents and then pass it to children who would then become adults before us, holding the Torah and then getting ready to read from it and teach from it. So we don't do that anymore, but we do still do Shalshelet HaDorot. We do still pass Torah from generation to generation. I want us to pause that thought right there, put a little post-it there, and think about this week's Torah portion, which is Vayikra. It is the beginning of the book of Leviticus, and we are beginning to learn about the sacrificial system. Super relevant. Animal sacrifice, we're right there. Okay, maybe not. Hopefully not. However, when we think about the purpose of sacrifice, and Kaya will tell us more about this in a little bit, it really, the word korban, which means sacrifice, is the same root as the word karov, to draw close. And later, we had to come up with new ways to karov, to draw close, because the sacrificial system went out the window. Thank goodness we don't do that anymore. And so again, now, today, we've made all of these sacrifices, like passing down the Torah from hand to hand. We've had to make all of these sacrifices, but we still have the desire, the hope, the dream to draw close. So how do we do that? How do we find ways to still maintain the passing from generation to generation without being able to physically draw close in the way that we were? So we have this really special symbol today. When Kaya reads from the Torah today, she's going to be using a yad that was given to Grammy. That's what we call you, right? That's what Kaya calls you. Given to you at your bat mitzvah, which was 20 years ago. Given to you by your children when you became bat mitzvah. And so now we have this passing of reading Torah. And I love this because it's not generation to generation. It's children to grandparents to granddaughter. The passing of Torah both upwards and downwards through the generation as Kaya comes to read Torah today with the yad that was given by her mother and her siblings to her grandmother, then passed back to her, wearing the talit that was given to you by your grandparents. And as you become Torah today, you couldn't pass the Torah down from hand to hand, but you are embodying Shalshelet Hadorot and passing Torah down today. And as you do, we will imagine not only the generations that have passed Torah to you in these deeply symbolic and meaningful, tangible ways, but also the people to whom you are going to pass Torah. Whether it is someday, maybe, children of your own, or your brother, who I know learns so much from you. By the way, my daughter is about Theo's age, and when she sees Kaya, her eyes light up. Because you have a way with children. They look up to you and they learn from you, right? And so whether it is children that you raise or the children that you will know, there will be people who are going to learn Torah. We are all going to learn Torah from you today. So we still pass Torah. This is how Torah survives, and this is how we thrive, is through the passing of Torah. If not from hand to hand, then certainly from heart to heart. So with that, let's turn to our Torah service, page 362, and let's stand as we remove the Torah from the ark and prepare to learn together.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai himloch leolam va'ed, Adonai oz le'moitein, Adonai yevarech et hamo v'shalom, av harachamim, heitiv avirtzonecha et Zion, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki v'chol levad batachnu, melech el ram v'nisa, Adon olamim. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Gadol Shemo, Galul Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachtav, Lecha Adonai Hagedullah, ve'hagevurah, ve'hatiferet, ve'hanetzach, ve'hachol, ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Lecha Adonai ha'mamlacha ve'haminaseh, lechol lerosh. Romemu Adonai Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Haolam, Haolam Omed.
We turn now to the reading of Torah. And you can find, if you're following along in the Plout Chumash, which I don't know that anyone here is, you have the Torah reading in your service pamphlet, I believe. And if anyone at home is using the Chumash, you can find Parshat Vayikra on page 660. At this time, we invite for our first Aliyah, we invite Kaya's grandparents, Mel and Joyce Jaffe, to come and join Kaya and the Cantor on the bima. You all are going to come over to the Cantor's podium. He's going to spray it down for you. Because now. And Cantor will join Kaya on the other side of the glass over there as we get ready to hear Kaya chant Torah for the first time.
Yamod Mordechai Fishel, Tamod Hanagolda, Ya'amtu Rishon.
Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
It's in the...
We could take our masks off. We could take our masks off. Right?
So stand in the center.
Amen. Vayikra el Moshe, Vaydaber Adonai elav ma'ohel moed lemor. Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amarta alehem Adam ki akriv mikem korban ladonai min ha-behema min ha-bakar umin hatzon takrivu et korbanchem imola korbano min ha-bakar zachar tamim yakrivenu el petach ohel moed yakrivoto lirtzono lifnei Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Yasher Koach, air hugs and kisses. And you can have a seat. And for our second Aliyah, we invite your aunt and uncle, Mark and Rachel Jaffe.
Yamod Menachem Moshe ben Mordechai Fishel v'Chana Golda, Tamod Rachel bat Shlomo v'Leah, Yamdu Sheni.
Baruch
Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'samach yado al rosh ha'olah, v'nirtzah lo lechaper alav. V'shachat et ben habakar lifnei Adonai, v'hikrivu b'nei Acharon hakohanim et hadam, v'zarku et hadam al hamizbeach saviv asher petach ohel moed. V'hifshit et ha'olah v'nita ota l'intaheiha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yasher Koach. Air hugs and kisses. For our third Aliyah, we invite Kaya's mom to join you on the bima, Kara Gibbs.
Ta'amon Saralei Babat Mordechai Fischel v'Chana Golda Ta'amon Shelishit
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'natnu b'nei Acharon hakohen eish al hamizbeach, ve'arhu eitzim al ha'eish, ve'arhu b'nei Acharon hakohanim et hanetachim et harosh ve'et hapader al ha'etzim asher al ha'esh asher al hamizbeach, ve'kirbo uchrav yirchat b'mayim, ve'hiktir hakohen et hakol hamizbecha olah ishereach nichoach
L'Adonai.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yasher Koach. And Kara, you can stay there while Kaya does her last Aliyah. Well, while Kaya does her first Aliyah. Well, she chants her last one, but does her first time doing the blessing before the Aliyah. And this is the moment. It's the saying the blessing before the Torah reading. This is the magic moment when Kaya becomes a Jewish adult. Everything else she's done is something that anyone who knows how is able to do, but saying the blessing before the Aliyah is something you have to be an adult to do. So welcome, Kaya. And Cantor will call you to Torah. Tamod, Tamod, Habachura, Habar Mitzvah, Bat Mitzvah, Bat Yachona, Bat Saraleba, Chazak, Chazak, Venivcha,
Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ve'imin hatzon korbano min ha-kesavim o min ha-izim leola zachar tamim yakrivenu ve'eshachat oto al yerech hamizbeach safona lifnei Adonai Vezarku b'nei Acharon haKohanim et damo al hamizbeach
Saviv.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Beautiful. Yasher Koach. Kaya, thank you. So hug your mom, and then you can rest for just a moment before we move on to the next part of our service. So you can have a seat.
All right, go ahead and have a seat. Oh yeah, you should probably get that one.
Beautiful. With the Torah in front of us, we draw strength from its teachings as we think of those who are in need of healing. And we know that that is so many in our community and our world. It's really, in many ways, all of us. So we turn to page 371, where you can find our blessing for healing, 371 or 253.
Mishaberach Avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel ve'Leah Hu yevarech Hu yirapeach hacholim HaKadosh Baruch Hu yimale rachamim aleihem lehachalim amarapotam lechazikam ve'yishlach lahem mehera refuah Refuah shlema min hashamayim, refuat hanefesh urufat haguf, hashta bagalau vizman kariv, venomar, Amen.
May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. If there is someone you are thinking of, you may say their name out loud at this time, or you may put it into the chat on YouTube or Facebook. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete recovery of body and spirit. And let us say Amen.
Amen.
At this time, let's stand as we raise the Torah and dress it.
Bezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, tziva lanu Moshe, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Torah tziva lanu Moshe.
Let's be seated now, and Kaya is going to share with us some of the lessons that she has learned from Parshat Vayikra, from this very beginning of the book of Leviticus. And you saw me over there, I was just reminding her, now we're all accountable to take deep breath, go nice and slow so that we can hear your important words.
Shabbat Shalom. Before I tell you about my Torah portion, I just want to say that I did not choose my Torah portion. As is the usual custom, it was given to me based on the date of my bat mitzvah. But it's as if it chose me. I'll explain what I mean. First of all, my Torah portion is right between my grandfather Grampy's Torah portion 71 years ago and my cousin Eli's Torah portion 6 years ago. So I feel like I'm in great company. The second reason takes a little more thinking on everyone's part, so bear with me while I spell Vayikra slowly. V-A-Y-I-K-R-A. Do you hear anything unusual? My name is embedded in it. And now I will tell you about my Torah portion. As I said before, it is called Vayikra and is in the book of Leviticus. Takes place somewhere in the desert and is about sacrifice and prayer. At the beginning, God is ordering Moses to tell the Israelites about the sacrifices he wants. They have to sacrifice only certain animals, and they must be perfect in every way. The sacrifices are how they communicated with God, to ask to be forgiven for things that they've done wrong. I think it's interesting that they couldn't sacrifice just any animal. There are so many rules as to what to sacrifice and how to do it. Prayer is connected to sacrifice, as Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel once said. Prayer is not a substitute for sacrifice. Prayer is sacrifice. He's completely right in the sense that we now pray instead of sacrificing animals and blood. We can pray at any time during the day, and it can be silent within ourselves, or it can be part of the community in the temple. In addition to asking for forgiveness, prayer can also express praise and gratitude to God. Although prayer is a way to ask for forgiveness from God, you can't just pray and you're done. You have to fix what you've done wrong. Our prayers inspire us to be good people, have gratitude, and be thankful for what we have. If you think about it, we're very, very fortunate. Many people don't have as much as we have. In 4th grade, at our winter holiday party, my class made bags that contained toothpaste, a toothbrush, and clean socks, among other items, to give to homeless people. We don't have sacrifices anymore, but we do sacrifice many other things for other people's benefit. This inspired my mitzvah project, which is about helping kids whose families are going through difficult times. I love how art allows me to express my feelings and thoughts in a creative way, and I want other kids to have that same opportunity. Through Jewish Family and Children's Services, I'm raising funds to buy art supplies that I will be placing in bags along with the picture that I've drawn. These kits will be given to the children while waiting for their parents who are being seen by a counselor. Preparing for my bat mitzvah has been a very meaningful and educational experience. It was certainly a lot of hard work, but it has taught me to be a kind, caring, and grateful person, which are all strong Jewish qualities. It also made me think about my heritage, who I am, and who I want to be. I consider myself a proud Jewish young woman, and according to Jewish beliefs, I'm responsible for my own actions and behavior. In conclusion, I would like to thank the many wonderful people who helped me along this journey. Thank you to Rabbi Mason-Barkin and Cantor Ettinger for getting me to this day. I appreciate your encouragement and enthusiasm. I would also like to thank my grandparents for being there for me when I just needed a shoulder to cry on. Thank you, Theo, for being here to support me and for just being my brother. I love your smile, even though nowadays it's more of a toothless grin. Thank you to my mom and dad for your never-ending love and for assisting me throughout this entire ride. I know I can be a bit of a hassle sometimes, but I will always try my hardest not to. And to everyone out there in La La Land, whether you came dressed for the occasion or stayed in your sweats, thanks for being with me on this special day. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Kaya, for sharing those words. So while Kaya puts her speech away, we are going to get ready to return the Torah to the ark. So we'll give her a minute there. Thank you, Kaya, for sharing us those important words of Torah. So we are going to stand, and I'm going to invite Kara and Theo to join us on the bima as we open the ark and prepare to put the Torah away.
Hallelujah, et Shem Adonai, ki nishgav shemo levado. Oto haaretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren leyamo, Kehilah lechol hasidav, livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Eitz chaim chi, lama chazikim pa, betomchecha meushad, derachecha darchei noam, bechol netivotecha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu kekedem.
Well, here we are. We have come to this moment where, Kaya, you have shared prayers with us. You have chanted Torah, and you've taught us about what you've learned from your Torah portion. You took one of the hardest Torah portions about sacrifice, and it's literally like, for those of you who haven't read it, it's like literal directions on how to sacrifice an animal, okay? And you took that and you brought something beautiful out of it. And you used that as a lesson for all of us on how we can be better people, how we can become stronger in our own identities and who we are. So Kai, as we sat together, was it just yesterday? We sat out on the walkway. You had a strawberry lemonade. I had like my 15th cup of coffee for the day. And we talked about the things you love to do. How you got your hobbies and the things that you love to do. And when I asked you what you want to be when you grow up, I expected you to say like a singer, an artist, like using one of these many, many, many talents that you have. One of these talents that we all associate with you, right? Like I know when we think about Kaya, we think music, we think singing, we think about your beautiful voice and everything that you have brought to our community through your voice. And you said, no, I want to be an anesthesiologist. And I was blown away because, okay, doctor, I get it. But when you explained what you imagine about anesthesiology, that it would be a way for you to take care of people. It would be a way for you to comfort people. It would be a way for you to help take away pain. It all clicked and it all made sense because this is who you are. You are a person who cares so deeply about the people that you love. You are the big sister whose eyes light up when you see your little brother. You are the person who wants to please your parents. You are the person who brings others together and brings your light and your joy and your shine. And you're going to create blessing bags. And you're going to create art kits for people who are in need of many material things, but what you want to bring to them is joy, right? Not just basic necessities, but to bring some beauty into their lives. This is what you do. And it all made sense. And I shared with you a story about how a time when I had to have some surgery, the anesthesiologist was the person who kept me calm. The anesthesiologist was the person who helped me take deep breaths and get through that scary point. And so when you imagine whether you become that or not, whether that ends up, you don't have to decide because you're 13, okay? You don't have to decide that yet. But what you already know is about who you already are. That you are a person who brings love. You are a person who brings comfort. You are a person who helps make the lives of those around you even better, both with the things that they need and the things that will bring joy and beauty. So our hope for you is that as you continue to be this person and grow into this person, as you continue to bring joy and beauty and music and song and all this great stuff, that you continue to do that here, in addition to all of the other areas of your life. We want to continue hearing the way that you elevate our prayer through your voice, the way you teach us important lessons with your mind, and the way you continue to share who you are with our Jewish community. And so when we talked a little bit about this, I told you about how in 10th grade, you'll have the chance to go with the confirmation class to Washington, D.C. and lobby for the things you care about. We want your voice to be a part of that. So we are here for you. We are here for you as you go on your journey, as you go on your way, as a place to keep coming back to, as you go out into the world. And we can't wait to see the way that you continue to make the world better and more beautiful. So with that, we offer you these words of blessing. May God bless you and may God keep you.
Adonai panav elayich v'chunai.
May God's face shine on you and always be gracious to you.
Yes, Adonai panav elayich v'yasem lach shalom, shalom.
May you always feel God's presence within you, and may you always be blessed with peace.
Siman tov und mazel tov und siman tov und mazel tov und siman tov und mazel tov und siman tov leilanu. Siman tov und mazel tov und siman tov und mazel tov und siman tov und mazel tov und siman tov.
So Cantor and I have had some, well, I've already said nice things to you. Yes, you can all be seated. Cantor will say nice things to you in a moment. Your dad will say nice things to you. This is like the best part because you get to relax and just hear how great you are, which you deserve. All right, so first, Mom.
All right. Wow, Kaya. Oh my gosh, you were amazing. I'm so proud of you. But more importantly, you should be proud of yourself. You made it look so effortless, but we all know the time, effort, and energy that went into the preparation for today. Studying to become a bat mitzvah is no simple feat, and you had to do it with the added task of learning it all virtually. But I shouldn't be surprised, because through the years, I've seen how you thrive with new challenges. I remember how quickly you mastered the Rubik's Cube to help your school team reach the city finals, or how you were selected to represent your school in a district-wide art show, or how you taught yourself to make balloon animals to give to kids who came to our yard sale. And now you can add today's accomplishment to that ever-growing list. And while I have your complete attention, no TikTok, no YouTube hacks, and no videos to compete with, I want you to know just how special you are. You're kind, warm, and thoughtful, and you brighten my days with your enthusiasm and humor. You always seem to have a funny story, joke, or riddle to share at the dinner table. In addition, you're flexible and able to roll with the punches, and as is often said, when given lemons, make lemonade. Well, you certainly made lots of lemonade during 2020. The way you handled this past year when your life was disrupted by the pandemic is a perfect example of your steadfastness and resiliency. We all know that starting middle school can be a challenge in the best of times, but to have to do it virtually takes challenge to a whole other level. But while responding to the situation of uncertainty and stress, you unwittingly discovered the value of being near the kitchen for, quote unquote, anytime or, quote unquote, all the time snacks. And that's how you have successfully navigated the first 8 months of middle school. On your bedroom wall, there is a word bubble that your third grade classmates made for you. It describes you as intelligent, nice, enthusiastic, sweet, friendly, responsible, and so much more. I would add confident, creative, and inspiring, traits that date back to when you were very young. Confident, always very independent, never needing a hand to hold, but taking the hand anyways when it was offered to you. More recently, as an 11-year-old, your confidence and poise were on center stage when you sang 2 prayers, Rosh Hashanah and Psalm 23, to a packed sanctuary at High Holy Day services. Creative. I can remember when in elementary school you would come up with so many ideas for the creative project of the month. It was difficult to narrow it down to one, but somehow you managed. Your mitzvah project continues to demonstrate how you creatively combined your passion for art with your compassion for others. Inspiring. You take such joy in the many things you do, whether you're cooking, singing, drawing, dancing, playing soccer, or being a friend or big sister. On meeting Theo for the first time 2 hours after his birth, you assumed the role of big sister when, as a 5-year-old, you whispered, "I didn't expect him to be so small," but nervously wanted to hold and feed him. There will come a time when he will no longer be small, but he will always be your little brother, and I know you will always have his back. Kaya, today's ceremony marks a milestone in your journey of being a proud Jewish woman as you follow in the footsteps of generations before you. You have accomplished this with such grace, but you should know that there's so much more. A whole spiritual journey awaits you as you explore what connects you to your definition of God. March 20th could not have been a more perfect day for you to celebrate your bat mitzvah. In addition to your 2 explanations why you felt your Torah portion was meant specifically for you, today happens to be the first day of spring, a time of joy, vitality, energy, beginnings, and growth. Doesn't that just define you? In closing, I want to leave you with some unsolicited motherly advice. Number 1, dream big. Promise you'll never settle for anything less than extraordinary, because that's what you deserve. Number 2, work hard. Life is full of challenges, and you will be tested. It's only in the dictionary where success comes before work. Number 3, believe in yourself and embrace your uniqueness. Promise to stay strong, stay focused, and most of all, stay you. Kaya, even when we are cranky and I lose patience or you lose patience, know that I will always be here for you. Although you've outgrown my lap, you'll never outgrow my heart. You're a true boy, and I love you. Mazel tov.
Kaya, you can stay put, and we invite your dad, Rob, to join you on the bima.
I haven't spoken in front of this many people in person in a year, so it's going to be maybe a little challenging. So when Kaya, so when she told me she wanted me to say something today, I said, of course, I'll say something about you, sure. And what I expected from her was, a heartfelt embrace. I love you, Daddy, thank you. No, what I got was her rubbing her hands together like a cartoon villain, waiting for me to start crying during this. So, And she's praying for that. I know you want me to start crying in this. You're probably going to get your wish, by the way. So anyway, here we go. And let's see how this plays out. So when I knew that we were having a daughter, it's already starting. When I knew we were having a daughter, I was a little scared. Obviously a man, and I had some fears about being able to no, it's okay, honey, I'm okay. I had some fears about being able to raise a little girl. I think anyone who has children knows that, it's tough, and it can be a trial by fire. And as men, we're sort of conditioned to want sons, whether that's good or bad or not, because we think we can deal with them in an easier way than we can with our daughters. I'm here to tell you that is erroneous. My daughter is absolutely delightful. She and her brother are the absolute best things in my life. And I feel fortunate to be your dad. What can I tell you about this beautiful, expressive, creative young woman that you don't already know? Let's see. She's smart. She does well at school. When we were going to school virtually, she liked to do school in her pajamas, and I did not let her do that, but she tried many times. I did let her do school from her bed, so, that was touch and go. But she has an incredible sense of humor. She's very funny. She's polite. She says thank you to the sample people at Costco. When we could get samples, she did do that. She's competitive in a way that I think, like Kara said, she likes a challenge. So one time we went hiking, and and she's complaining the entire time, by the way, in the car, complaining. Why are we going? What are we doing? Oh, my legs hurt. Oh. And I'm like, these were basic functions, Kaya. Like, walking is a basic function. So, so we get there, we're walking. Theo is a trooper, he's good, but this one complains, and it's just what she does sometimes. So 30 minutes in, I'm like, all right, we can leave. Something switched in her, and she's like, you know what? No, we're staying, and we're gonna go up that mountain. And I'm like, wait, what? What's happening now? And she's like, no, let's go. And I'm like, well, why are you yelling at me? She's like, no, let's go. So we go up the mountain. It's her in the front, Theo in the middle, me pulling up the rear, just in case anyone falls. And it's pretty steep. So she powers through it. She's like, come on, Theo, let's go. And he's like, okay, Kaya, I'm right behind you. So, he's doing his whole thing. He's following right behind her. And so we get up, and this is not a path either. This is just straight up. And she gets up, she goes up, she gets to the top, and she's like, yeah, I knew this was gonna be a great view. And I was like, I could have told you that from down there, but that's fine. And she's like, so how do we get down now? I'm like, what are you talking about? You think there's an elevator up here or something? So, interestingly enough, there's actually a path on the other side of the mountain. She's like, why didn't we go this way? You were the one who wanted to scale Mount Kilimanjaro here, but it wasn't my idea. But that is Kaya in a nutshell. Competitive and does not like to lose and will fight to the end. She can throw a spiral.
What does that mean?
Okay, just football, honey, great. She's got a decent jumper. She needs to work on her left. The only thing is, I wish she kept her room a little neater. Yes, yeah, you know. You can typically find, you know where Kaya is because you can find a trail of her clothes. So she comes in, there's jacket, shoes, socks, sweatshirt, follow it, and you'll figure out exactly where she is. And it's usually on the couch, looking for the aforementioned YouTube videos or things like that, or on her phone, but I'll take it, and I'll take you every day, every time. So the biggest thing I want to say to you is beyond me being extremely proud of you because, yes, this was a lot of work, and I know you put a lot of time into it. I want you to understand that I want you to enjoy and understand and enjoy that feeling of accomplishment, okay? But I also want you to understand, like Mom said, it takes work. And I want you to take that feeling of accomplishment wherever you go and whatever you do, and know that if you put the work into whatever it is you're going to do, you can have that same feeling. You know, your life is going to come down to a series of choices, Kaya. Whether or not you go this way or that way, things are going to happen. You're going to be presented with many options in life. I know that your mother and I prepared you, and we continue to prepare you to be able to make those choices and do what's best for you. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. You're not perfect. I know you want to be so hard sometimes, but you're not perfect. But you learn from the mistakes, and the wins are in the mistakes. So always remember that. Remember who you are. Trust your instincts. Believe in yourself, and don't be afraid to fail. Okay? I'm extremely proud of you. And you got your wish today. I did cry, so congratulations. All right? I love you. All right?
Beautiful, thank you. And we have some gifts that have, yes, been given that the cantor will share a little bit about. Yeah?
I don't really have gifts to present to you, Kaya. 20 minutes before the entire service. Do not go ahead and get their names confused. Kaya, I don't have any gifts to present to you because you are the true gift. But I do have some tools for you to bring extra Judaism into your home. We presented to you with a small Torah that is rolled to Parashat Vayikra, and you are invited to continue chanting Torah for us, especially at this year's high holidays, in addition to Berosh Hashanah and the 23rd Psalm, which I have no doubt, God willing, we are in person, which I'm pretty sure we will be, that you will dazzle everyone as you usually do as one of my star choir people. You also received a Teudah, your certificate, to set as a reminder of the beautiful job that you did today in front of your family and friends and all those in the wonderful land of Zoom and Livestream. You got a gift certificate towards the big trip. A tree was planted in your honor, starting a philanthropy fund in your name. All of these wonderful, wonderful ways for you to continue being the great leader that we know that you're going to be. Also a Kiddush cup, which we always said, Kiddush responsibly. And this Siddur, which is not yours, but Rabbi Kahn's, but that's nice. That was the other 10 minutes, don't do that one. Okay, but thank you very, very much. I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached. And so we want to present you with this Siddur because you have attended a lot of services virtually. You've sang with me at a lot of services. And this Siddur contains a lot of wonderful, wonderful prayers and blessings and meditations that you can use at those times when you need them the most. And so this Siddur is lovingly presented to you, Kaya Gibbs, for having successfully achieved all that is required to become a bat mitzvah. Mazel tov from Rabbi Kahn, Rabbi Mason-Barkin, and myself. Kol hakavod, job well done. Mazel tov, sweetie. Mazel tov. This is going to be a loud noise, but I'm moving it. Well, no, you're going to be singing one more thing, so I won't move it in just yet.
Let's turn to page 586 for Aleinu. As we conclude our service, please stand.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
We turn to page 598 or 294 for Mourner's Kaddish. We think of those in our community, in our families, in our world who have died in recent days, and we think of those who have died at this time in years past. We think of the generations of Kaya's family who came before, who we know would be failing to be here today. Let's read together at the top of the page. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekodeshah barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all those who are in mourning and comfort to all who are bereaved as we say together, amen. So Kaya, we invite you back up to the pulpit for one couple more things as we have a little kiddush, a little motzi, a closing song, in the order that Cantor decides. You may be seated.
So we're going to conclude with a very special prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom, and this melody was handpicked by Kaya. I just want to make sure that I have all of my pages there. And Kaya, while we were preparing for this day, I was thinking about how this is the end of a short journey, but the beginning of an even longer one. And I know that you have a lot of good you're going to do, and you're going to go many, many places and dazzle people with your voice. But I always know that just when we need you the most, you'll be back.
Is this on? Oh, it is, okay. Oh, say shalom b'mramav uya, say shalom aleinu. Oh, say shalom b'mramav uya, say shalom aleinu. Ve'akol Yisrael ve'akol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Yitzir Nivra, Let Nasa, V'chetza Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, V'yacharei, Kiklot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora, V'hu Haya, V'hu Haveh, V'hu Yiyeh B'tifara, Adon Olam Asher Malach, Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-ya-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-ya-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-ya-da, da-da-da-da-da, V'hu echad v'yein sheni l'cham shelo, l'cham shelo l'habira. Bili rashit, bili tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamsira, v'hu eli, v'chai go'ali, v'tzorchev li, v'et tzara, v'hu nisi, manosli, menat kosi beyom ekra, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Yitzir Nivra, Let Nasa, V'chetza Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, B'yado Apkid Ruchi, Ve'eti Shan Ve'a'ira, Ve'im Ruchi, Geviati, Adonai Livelo, Adonai Livelo, Ira, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-yada, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-yada, da-da-da-da-yada.
Amen.
Amen. Don't put your mask on just yet, because now you're going to do the Kiddush to the tune of the Schuyler sisters. No, is that not what we planned?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. And lift up the motzi. We'll take a little drink. Oh yes.
Oh,
Take a
Theo.
little drink of the Kiddush first, and we're going to invite Theo up to lead us. For all of you watching, this may be something that we start having little siblings do. You know, those who are on deck. Big job to lead us in motzi.
You can take the cover off. You can even take it out of the bag.
I do?
You can take the challah out of the bag, yeah.
Okay.
It's so common.
All right, Theo, go for it, my friend.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lehem min haaretz.
Amen.
V'te'avon. Cantor, I think you've got another singer here.
I know. Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat
everyone.
shalom. Mazel tov,
1, 2,
Kaya.
3,
Mazel tov,
and-
Theo, and Kara, and Rob, and the whole family.